Hello, it's afternoon for me. My name is Murphy. I love talking about books, and so this is my first booktube video. Unfortunately, I'm not at home. I'm at a resort near the Gulf Coast, and I don't have a quiet place. I don't have a good place to set up a camera, but we're going to see if we can make this work. This is like I said, this is my first video, and I just want to try it out, and then I can figure out settings and editing and all as I go along. It seems to me that the booktube community is very friendly and forgiving, and will give me advice. That's what I hope. So I want to talk about today. I want to talk about in this on this channel, which I'm calling Murphy's Every Whim, for various reasons that I'll get into as the videos progress. But today I want to talk about what I'm currently reading and my philosophy about reading multiple books at the same time. I often have many books going. Some of them drift away and become did not finished, but most of them end up getting read in their entirety. And so I want to talk about reading multiple books at the same time. I figure this is like watching multiple TV series that you choose to tune in every week to see the next episode, and you remember what those plot lines are. That's what reading multiple books is like to me, that I can remember those plot lines. I might not remember all the details, but if I can't, then I'll back up and read some more. But I enjoy it this way. It also lets me, when I'm feeling like I'm in a fragile state, to be able to stop reading one book and go and read another book for a while. And when I say read, I mean to either listen to a book, an audio book, to read a paper book, or to read a book on an ebook of various kinds. And so I call all of this reading, even when I'm listening. So the three books that I'm most actively reading right now, the first one is The Arrest by Jonathan Lethem. Again, I don't know how to pronounce any of the names that I run across because I don't listen to enough things to know the correct pronunciations, but Jonathan Lethem. I got this book because it has a post-apocalyptic story, which I tend to like a lot right now. I'm afraid that I'm getting ready to grow out of that. But also because he was also the author of Motherless in Brooklyn, which I really enjoyed. I noticed when I was doing a little research on names and that sort of thing that there was a movie or TV series out about it. I'm not the least bit interested in seeing that. I enjoyed the book Motherless in Brooklyn a lot. The Arrest is significantly different in that, you know, it's not a crime novel set in close to modern day Brooklyn. Instead, The Arrest is a post-apocalyptic story, and I'm having to step away from it right this minute for a little bit because I'm afraid something terrible is going to happen. And I will get over that and get back into it after a while. The next one I'm actively reading is Checkout 19 by Claire-Louise Bennett. And I like to have books that I have no clue what they're going to be about on occasion. Sometimes I like to have books that I've actually done a lot of research in, but sometimes I like to have a book where it's going to be a surprise. And I got Checkout 19, specifically because it reminded me of the title, made me think of Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata, which I entirely enjoyed. My sister and I actually listened to that book together while we were on a road trip. And like a lot of books that we listen to together, it was one that caused us to have a lot of discussion about. And so I got Checkout 19 because of that. I've been listening to this while I'm been at my volunteer job, which is working in an office situation. And even though I could do more sophisticated work, I'm doing just sort of grungy office-based work where I'm, stuffing letters and things like that. And so it's a great opportunity to listen. So far, Checkout 19 has had a lot of different vignettes that I'm not quite sure how they tie together into some sort of story. And it's a little slow. I'm a little slow tying into it, but I don't know what's going to happen at all, so I'm curious to keep reading. Another book I'm actively reading, but have to step away from periodically, is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. The first book I ever bought for myself on video cassette was The Bean Trees by Kingsolver, and I loved that, and I have enjoyed a lot of Kingsolver since then. But there are a lot of things going on in Demon Copperhead that, because I'm feeling just a little emotionally fragile right now, I have to step away from. And every time I go back to it, I'm about a quarter of the way through. Every time I go back to it, I find that I am not as uncomfortable as I thought I would be. So I think I should continue reading. A friend of mine says that it has a happy ending without being schmaltzy. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So those are 3 books that I'm actively listening to, either in the car or work or wherever. A book that I just got in paperback is The Lincoln Hunters by Wilson Tucker. And this is a pulpy time travel novel. And I got this for a couple of reasons that both come from the YouTube channel Criminale. And on Criminale, Ollie recommends a couple of things that I decided to check out. One is to read trashy novels. And by trashy novels, he means novels that were published specifically to make money, and for various reasons. I'm not going to go into the details of what he thinks trashy novels are, but this one definitely qualifies. And another thing that he recommended on his channel was reading books from one's birth year. And I don't know if that was his idea specifically or if he got that from somebody else, but The Lincoln Hunters was published the year I was born, and also is a pulpy book, and it's time travel. It's a historical novel with time travel. The plot of it is kind of similar to the time travel books by Connie Willis, but pulpier. And there's a love story in it, of course, and it's fun. I'm enjoying it, and thinking about the time that it's written in, which was the year I was born. So I keep trying to imagine my family and what was going on in their life at the time that book was written, or at least published. Some more books that I'm actively reading. Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste. And I am not getting into this book at all. I have this book on Kindle, and so I always have it with me when I'm at the doctor's office or someplace like that, and I'm just not getting into it. I don't know if it's the suburban privileged lifestyle, the trudging plot, I don't know, but I don't think to pull it out and read it unless I have to. I'm reading A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway, and this is part of an ongoing project, probably a lifetime project, of reading the books that were on my mother's shelves, or my father's shelves. I'm sorry if you can hear the road noise outside. Again, I don't have a whole lot of choice of where I am filming right now, but I figured if I didn't start trying to create videos, I wouldn't. And so, just diving in. But anyway, Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway, I'm reading because I am reading the books that were on my parents' shelves, and she had several books by Ernest Hemingway, and Hemingway in general is a hit and miss for me. I love the Nick Adams stories and will probably read them again multiple times, but The Sun Also Rises, which I've read multiple times in my life, it's still something I tolerate more than enjoy. I read because I should, rather than I just can't wait to see what's going to happen around the corner. A Farewell to Arms is much better than that, in that there's more during the war autobiographical stories, so that's interesting. And then the love story, which I think is very strange, and I don't know if it's really appropriate for the time, or if it's the Lost Generation kind of love story, or what. But I think both of those are interesting, and I'll probably sit down soon and finish that. I'm about halfway through. And then two last books that I'm in the middle of, and for these are books I seem to be enjoying episodically. I like to go listen to them for a while until a certain part of the story is told, and then step away because I find them tedious a little bit. Interesting, but tedious to listen to for a long period of time. And those are Dies the Fire by S.M. Stirling and Odd Billy Todd by N.C. Reid. And these are both post-apocalyptic stories. Dies the Fire is has the same sort of technique for the apocalypse as The Arrest, and that is machines just stop working. In Dies the Fire, it's electrical and mechanical machines stop working. And Odd Billy Todd is a flu apocalypse. And so for that reason, it does tend to remind me just a tiny bit of The Stand by Stephen King. And so I like both of these because I like the people, the characters, I like the relationships that are building. Dies the Fire is more, it has the sort of individual peaks throughout the story. Life is good for the people, tensions build, battle scene, aftermath. And so I tend to listen through one of those at a time, and then step away for a little while. And Odd Billy Todd isn't quite the same episodic. It's just an ongoing story of building a sustainable community. But I think their community is a little more tenuous, and anything bad that might happen could spell the end for at least part of the community. And again, I'm feeling a little emotionally fragile right now, and I'm not ready I'm not ready for whatever disasters might befall them. But if we go back to Dies the Fire, I feel like the characters in that story are so much stronger, and the community that they built is stronger, that it's less on the balance. And so it's not an emotional issue that keeps me from continuing to read Dies the Fire more and more. The issue is tedium, because these jumps in the story seem to be all the same in a way. Different characters are coming in, but still it seems to be the same. Seems to be a little tedious, whereas Odd Billy Todd, I'm scared for the characters. All right, so those are the books that I'm actively reading right now. There are some others that probably were on the list but have at least faded into the background for a while, and maybe I'll get back to. One is Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. It's too much of a saga for me without, I don't know. I can't articulate why Alias Grace isn't just, ooh, I want to read this and finish this. I guess I'll get back to it sometime. So that's my currently reading list. My ideas for this channel are to talk about books, and that could be a situation like this where I'm talking about a group of books at one time, or that could be that I choose one book to talk about. My sort of big thing is to make connections between a book and another book, or a movie, or a life situation, or music, or something else, and to make those connections. And on the other hand, I read a lot of different things, and it seems like post-apocalyptic literature is my bag, but that's not really true. It just happens that there are 3 on my current reading list. I'll try anything once, and so I'm happy to be here. I'm curious to see how this channel pans out, and I better stop because my partner just walked in and he's going to make noise. Bye. Take care.